So maybe the Lake Norman area has been an interest of yours for quite some time, but you can't quite afford the eastern side or eastern coastline. I am with you.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
But there is another option, the beautiful town of Denver, North Carolina. Now, Denver has a lot to offer, but there's a reason why it's not as often spoke of compared to its eastern neighbors. And in this video, I'm going to take you through everything you need to know and explain Denver. We're going to talk about where it sits, what kind of attractions, and of course, shopping and dining. But we're also going to dive deep into some of the specifics of the economy and tell you a little bit about what the population holds. And stick around to the very end because there's some information that I'm going to share that might change your home search for the future. If you're looking for everything Charlotte, North Carolina, the ins, the outs, and everything in between, you've come to the right channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and be the first to know about all upcoming changes to the Charlotte market. I'm 𝗖𝗀 𝗀𝘁, your Charlotte, North Carolina expert and the upstate of South Carolina. Every single day we get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites from people who are just like you, looking to make the move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Well, if that's you, go ahead, drop into the description below. All of our contact information is there, whether you're making the move in 9 days or in 90 days, moving across the country, across the world, or even just across town. We're here to make your move exactly what you want it to be. Welcome to Denver, North Carolina, this cute little town that sits just to the west of Lake Norman. Now, one of the first things that you are going to notice is Denver does not look very big on a map. Not when you search it. Now, when I'm talking about the actual population of Denver, we're talking about Denver proper, the town or the city of Denver. But here's the cool thing. Denver actually spans much wider than what we see right here. And in fact, let me pull up my little cursor here. In fact, Denver encompasses all of this space right here. So Denver is actually much larger than it looks on a map if you were to go search it. So remember, when I'm talking about population, we're talking about 3,000 people right here, which is Denver proper, but there are far more people out and around this area. So let's take a step back and see, where does Denver actually lie? Well, let me zoom all the way out here. Here we have Charlotte, North Carolina. And if we come a little bit further out, you'll see right here, here is Denver. So that's your little route up into Denver from Charlotte. But it doesn't sit all that far outside of Charlotte, which is really nice. So it's not a far distance. To get to Denver proper, it's about a 40-minute drive from Charlotte proper. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your commutes, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. Now, one thing I do want to point out is where it sits in the state. There's a lot of confusion because it's called Denver, and people automatically think Colorado. You did too, didn't you? So with that, let's talk a little bit about where it sits. So as I mentioned, Denver, of course, is right here, but it's actually pretty close to a lot of things. So one, your easy distance to go up to I-40 and hit Winston-Salem and Greensboro. You are a 2-hour drive to Raleigh-Durham. You are a 1.5-hour ride to Asheville. And you're about an hour, give or take, from this area right up here, which is called Boone or Banner Elk. This is where a lot of people will go skiing and snowboarding in the winter. Beautiful area, great for the fall season. It's absolutely gorgeous. But what about my beach people? Can I get a shout out? That's right. I love the beach. So let's talk about the beaches. You can actually get from Denver all the way out to Wilmington in about 3.5 to 4 hours. Now, I would say it's probably a little bit closer to 4 hours because you sit farther to the northeast of Lake Norman. So it's about a 4-hour drive. The same can be said to accessing Charleston and as well as Myrtle Beach. So you're about a 4-hour drive from all of those beaches. Now, you've probably seen some of my other videos talking about beaches and distance from Charlotte. Yes, most of them are 3.5 hours. It's again because you're kind of sitting to the northeast. So you're smack dab in the middle of the mountains and the beaches, which is so gorgeous. Now, here's the benefit. We also have a ton of lakes, right? So if we zoom in right here, Denver sits right on Lake Norman, which is the largest man-made lake in the southeast. It's an absolutely stunning lake, beautiful views, gorgeous landscape, and some really nice houses. One of our favorite pastimes is to take the boat out, go drive up Lake Norman and look at all of the mansions, and guess who lives there. So with that being said, we do have a few other lakes as well. Just down from that, we've got Mountain Island Lake, which is right here. And then as we continue further down, we come down the Catawba River down into Lake 𝗲𝗄. I will make a note here. There is a town called Lake 𝗲𝗄, and then you have the actual lake of Lake 𝗲𝗄, not to confuse you further. So the lake of Lake 𝗲𝗄 sits right down on the South Carolina border. Beautiful lake, much smaller, as you can tell, than Lake Norman, so a lot shorter to traverse, but still plenty of lakes. And then you've got a couple little spattered ones out this way. You've got High Rock Lake, Lake Whitney, and even up to the north, so here's Denver right here on the map, you've even got a few lakes up to the northern areas here near Hickory. So you're surrounded by water. So even if you can't make it to the beach, you've got plenty there. So let's talk a little bit about what is around this area. So one of my favorite parts about Denver, it's still close to a lot of different things. So the most popular areas are going to be right over here. You've got Davidson, Cornelius, and Huntersville. So here's your Davidson, Cornelius, and Huntersville is technically all this area down here. The Burkdale Village sits in Huntersville. Why are these so popular? Well, there's a few reasons. One, ton of shopping and dining all along this little corridor right here, and a lot of housing development. So it's far more populated and more densely populated. Now, the nice thing here is you kind of get out to these areas, it's a little less populated and in through here, but you also have proximity to different malls, etc. So that's what makes these a lot more popular. The other thing is, take a quick peek. You are right on I-77, which takes you right into Charlotte. So why don't people move more often to Denver? Well, let's talk about it. Denver sits right on 16. Now 16 is a main vein that brings you right into Charlotte, just like I-77 does. Now, while 16 is the same sized road as I-77, meaning you've got 2 lanes on each side, I-77 does have a toll lane. It needs to, it's optional, but it does have 2 toll lanes because there's so much more of a population. However, you do get some backups on 16 as well. 16 usually has a backup right about here and right about here. Biggest reason for that, we actually still have some lights on 16. Once you get up past this way right here, there are no lights until you reach about there. But it did, or actually probably closer like there. With that being said though, the lights do slow down traffic just a little bit. But that's not the biggest reason. The biggest reason most people are not moving to Denver is the lack of amenities. That's really what it comes down to. As I mentioned, there's a lot of amenities right through here. Even in Mooresville, you've got Costco and shopping, a cute little downtown. It's actually a pretty big downtown. You can go check out my video of Mooresville. You get a better idea. When it comes to Denver, as you can see, there's not much here, right? There's a lot of green space, which is wonderful. I love green space. But those green spaces mean that there's not much going on. Now, some people love this, some people don't. So let's do a deep dive and see what in the world really is in Denver. So as I zoom in right here, you're gonna notice there's a little strip right here. So as we come up, this is basically the main strip in Denver. So you've got plenty of boat places. You've got your Dollar General, Good Samaritans. Then as you come down here, you've got a few other, you've got a church right here, Truist Bank, another Dollar Tree. Then you start getting into a few other things. So right in here, there's a few small businesses, storage units, little grill area, but not a whole lot. We're finally getting into, we've got pizza right over here, a Denver furniture store, 𝗖cie restaurant, which is actually very tasty, little markets, a Goodwill. And then as you continue on, you're going to start to notice there's, grocery stores and things of that nature, the Methodist Church, fire department. But as you can notice, there's not a lot. When we think about a little town that has a lot going on, we're thinking big stuff, right? We're thinking they've got this huge strip mall with lots of things going on. Denver doesn't really have that. So I'm going to bring us a little bit further down on this route and show you another section that does have a little bit more. So just to zoom out, I'm going to show you, we're further down on the map here, but I do want to zoom in here because you get a little bit more going on. So as we come a little bit further south, this is where we start to have a little bit more. So you've got your charter school right here. There's a lot. This is absolutely beautiful right in here. Beautiful charter school. The schools in Denver are phenomenal, and especially in North Denver. North Lincoln High School. There's also an incredible elementary school. This is a major draw for people. You've got Triangle Food, a few more restaurants, but again, it's not anything that's major. There's no major hub here that gives you everything that you need. Now, I will note, there are a few other places, such as right up here, you've got a Publix right here, Publix supermarket. This sits to the north. This is actually not technically in Denver, but it is a Publix supermarket. It's decently close. It's technically in Sherrills Ford, which is the next town, the next over. Move this around a little bit, make it easier. And then over here, you do have a little bit more. You've got the Crossroads right up here. So you've got a Food Lion and Walgreens, dental, a couple of other things. So a lot of people won't do a lot of their grocery or even their doctor's visits. A lot of people won't do it in Denver because there's not as much to do. You go to Denver to live. You go to Denver for the great schools. You go to Denver for the quiet. And that is a major draw for people. They like to have it more spread out. They want also better cost of living. So let's compare cost of living. I've kind of told you some of the downsides. There's not much there. You're going to have to drive a little bit to get what you want, but it's actually not too far. If you want to go to Costco, you just come up and over. And a lot of people will do some of their shopping in Mooresville, or they will come a little bit further down this way. And again, there are a couple of grocery stores up along this road right off 16. So you're not in some kind of food desert, don't worry. It's just definitely think small town, really small town, that's what it is. Until Denver starts to expand more when it comes to shopping and dining and having more of a hub or a place where you can go, that's going to help it truly expand. Now, one of the spots that has started to expand, it isn't all the way in Denver proper, but it is further down. So right off here off 73, which is right kind of where Denver starts, is just above Lowellsville, right here, you're going to notice there is a good bit of shopping right in here. So let me go ahead and pull this up. So you've got your sports places, you've got plastic surgery consultations. Right over here, you got, of course, your Taco Bells. You've got your Harris Teeter, McDonald's, different Mexican restaurants in here, Food Lion, and as we come up this way, there's even more. You've got your Walgreens, Chick-fil-A, Starbucks. Gotta have a Starbucks, right? One of my favorite places, Famous Toastery. You've got to have it. We've got a few of them in Charlotte now. I love it. Aldi, Lowe's Home Improvement. Across the way, you've got a Super Walmart. So while it is a few, and you've also got a Publix. I should have pointed that out. Publix supermarket. So this hub right here for shopping, this is where most people go for their grocery. Now, if you notice, it's a little ways down from Denver proper, but it's not that far. You're talking about a 15-minute drive, give or take, depending upon where you live in Denver. Maybe if you live, let's say, here, you're going to come in and come right down this way. So it's not terribly far. But when you look at Denver proper, that is old school Denver, and they don't have as much there. I'm excited to see expansion in this area. It's going to help quite a bit. Okay, so let's talk about cost of living a little bit, because this is something that's very important for people. When you're thinking about moving to the Lake Norman area, yes, of course, Cornelius seems to be the town that is the hub where everybody says, oh, that's lake living. It's totally Cornelius. Why is that though? Well, it's because you have so much accessibility to the lake in or around Cornelius. It has kind of become a hub. Now, the second major hub, in my opinion, is Mooresville, this whole tip right in here. Now, the challenge with this tip, there's not a whole lot going on except for right up here. The rest of this down here is all residential. Your public accesses are actually more so down here, right along here, and then to the north. And then it starts going into other towns. So there's not a whole lot going on there, and it's also much farther away from Charlotte. So Mooresville has been growing substantially over the last several years, and you can notice that, of course, because of all the build out, of course, of restaurants and stores, but it also has a really cute little downtown. Publix, the super center right here, the supermarket, great food, great atmosphere. I don't know if you've ever been to a Publix. They're newer to North Carolina. We love them. Floridians know. With Publix coming in, this has also helped the expansion up northern. So northward, and that's going all the way up into Catawba, Sherrills Ford, all up into this area that's still very rural. So Denver, it still remained on the outskirts. It still remained feeling more rural. And the cool thing is, I think we're going to see a change in that here soon. As we're seeing this expansion into Mooresville, expansion into Sherrills Ford, we're going to start to see a lot more happening right here on this particular section. The reason being, we need more space. So as land is being sold, we're seeing more and more new construction developments popping up. And the more people that move into these areas, the more support we need from places like grocery. So as those expand, we're going to see things like different restaurants and things of that nature coming into these regions. So instead of just having this little spot down here, we're probably going to have another hub for shopping somewhere in this region up top. It's going to be amazing. So get in early. So as I mentioned, Cornelius is usually the hub. Now, Huntersville, especially on the lake, Cornelius, Davidson, and Mooresville on the lake are the three most expensive places you can be to be on the lake. Now, think about it this way. The closer you are to Charlotte, the higher the price if you're on the lake. Everybody wants proximity to Charlotte. In fact, Denver, while the median household income is about $104,000, it's not coming from working in Denver. In fact, majority of the people that are living in Denver don't work there. They either work southward in Charlotte, or some of them commute, some of them are working remotely, but it's not businesses that have a hub in Denver. This also goes to support the theory or the facts that, yes, Denver is small and people go there because it's quiet and small. They're not going there because of the job opportunities. Now, that being said, unemployment in Denver still hovers at around 3.7, which is below the national average. And because of massive businesses moving into the region, we're seeing an increase not only in the median household income, but also in job opportunities. So again, this is going to continue to increase as not only businesses are moving further into the Denver area, but also as we see individuals moving into Denver wanting jobs, which is very exciting. So the cool thing about this, because it is not as desirable from a standpoint of having all of your conveniences, but still the same commute time as you would find from any of these towns over here, in fact, probably actually faster, you actually have the opportunity for lower costs. Now, that's lower costs of housing for sure. Denver also has lower taxes. So if you're thinking you want to be on the lake, Denver might be the first place that you want to look. It still, as I mentioned, has the simple drive time if you're going into Charlotte quite often, but your price for your home on Lake Norman is going to be substantially less. I'm talking in some cases $100,000 to $200,000 less than what you'll find in this area right over here. It comes with amenities, convenience, and of course the distance factor from Charlotte all make up what these prices are doing. But as Denver starts to grow, we're going to start to see these prices creeping up. Now, if you look online and you look at the median home price, you're going to find it sits between about $540,000 to $570,000. Now, you might be thinking, Kayla, that's a high average. That's actually higher than Charlotte. Yes, but if you take into account that many of those homes are luxury properties, humongous properties on lakefront, and intermixed with properties that are throughout this area, which I would consider very affordable in the 400s, then you see why it's going to be between $540,000 and $560,000. You're also going to understand why you can see that the lakefront is truly lower. And I've found some incredible properties for my clients in this area, especially lakefront. Now, not everybody wants lakefront, but what if you want proximity to lakefront? So if you don't want to be on the lake, that's totally fine. Let's take a look. There's a lot of neighborhoods that have proximity to the lake without being on the lake. So as you come a little bit further north, you're going to notice some beautiful developments right in here. This is an example of one. Plenty of pools. Yes, we can use pools here. Really, like, I'm going to say 6 months out of the year. You may be able to extend a little bit more of the pool heater, but really, it's truly 6 months out of the year, you could use a pool. Now, as you notice, these homes are on the lake, but just inside of there, they're not. Now, you will see sometimes a probably sometimes more, $200,000 swing on a house that's on the lake versus a house that's not on the lake. Even if it's in the same development, it's the exact same house. That lakefront access is a big deal, especially if you have a dock. But as you notice, there's plenty of locations throughout here where you could be close enough, but not right on it. Now, a really cool one, a really cool spot. I love this little spot. It's very unique. There's a spot called Governor's Island. Now, Governor's Island is in Denver. But as you notice, there's a little bridge that has to connect it. And it's actually a natural landmass. I'll zoom out. It's a natural landmass here in Lake Norman that if we zoom in is actually a little island. So it's called Governor's Island. It's very, very exclusive. It is a gated community, and as you can tell, these homes in here are absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I mean, exquisite homes all throughout here. Now, can you get into Governor's Island? Absolutely. You will be well above the $2 million price point, but as you can see, there is a lot available still in there, so you never know when the opportunity might strike. Now, we do have a lot of these. They are basically sand bars is exactly what they are. And it's funny, while you see the red clay, we actually do have sand in Lake Norman. Isn't that crazy? So it has to do with the sediment, but we actually do have sandbars in multiple locations around Lake Norman, and it's actually sand. It's really cool. So as you can see, we do definitely have little land masses. We've got, of course, your golf club communities or golf course communities, which are great, but you also have some of these smaller communities right next door. Newer builds, smaller builds, but beautiful little neighborhoods. Now, there's also opportunity inside. So this is the lake. Let me go back to my little map here. So this is the lake area here, but there's also opportunity in these regions here. So to the left of 16, and it still is in Denver. These are still Denver locations. Now, one thing you're going to notice is beautiful, lush greenery. Not all this land has been sold yet. So one day, I would presume it probably will, and we'll see more and more developments being put in. But you can already see that there's some to the north. And this is another great opportunity. You notice how big these lots are? Denver has the opportunity to not only get affordable homes, but also have much larger lots of land. So if you've been, sitting there looking at a bunch of different developments going, man, these lots are terrible. They're super small. I'm paying an arm and a leg for it. Go further to the northwest into Denver, and you're going to find so much more when it comes to opportunity and size of lots. Even in some of these older neighborhoods and in some of the newer neighborhoods, you're going to be a little bit more spread out. This is one of my favorite little spots in here. As you can see, beautiful, lush, tree-lined. It's amazing. And these are the kinds of neighborhoods that you're going to find in Denver. So back over a little bit into lake life, let me zoom in on some other little areas that I absolutely love. So this area right over here, super popular. All right, so this is a great little neighborhood in here. A lot of mix of newer homes, some that are older, but you can see these little veins going out to all the way out to the edges. We're going to see a huge mix of properties. I think that's another really great thing. While we do have neighborhoods in Denver, we also still have a lot of homes that are not necessarily in a neighborhood and have been on the lake forever, which gives a lot of opportunity for people who are moving to the area because you can get an older home or you can get a newer home. You kind of have a lot of opportunity there, but you could go with something that is a little bit more lush and tree-lined, my preference, or you could go for more of a new construction feel, like something like this, where you don't have as much yard or property that you have to maintain. Some of my clients' favorite things, they don't want to have to maintain a property. Now, these are still an option. They're few and far between in the Denver area because most people do want to spread out a little bit. That's kind of why they're coming there. But as you can notice, there's a lot of new construction going on in and around this region. Some touching the lake, others like we see over here off of 150 to the north are a little bit more spread out. There's a variety of builders that are building. You've got some by Lennar, D.R. Horton, Mattamy. I believe there's a few that are going in right now also with MI Homes, but they all offer different opportunities and different price ranges. So depending upon what your price range is, you could probably find a far more affordable home here in the Denver area than you would some of the other areas, even in Charlotte or around Charlotte. Definitely more affordable than you can find in Cornelius and Davidson, and probably also more affordable than you can find in Mooresville, which is a really big win. So there's a lot to know about Denver, and the cool thing is it's got great schools. It's got an actual shorter commute time than you're going to find on the east side of the lake. Much better home prices and availability. And the benefit, you can get in now as the town expands around you. I think that's one of the biggest things. There's very few towns still available where you've got just enough that you need. You've got the accessibility to what you need, but you can see everything growing around you. Dining, shopping, everything. And that way, your equity in your home is going to rise faster than some of the other areas in and around Charlotte, and you get the benefit of a nice, relaxed lake life town. I hope you got a ton of value out of this video and have a much better grasp, not only on the town of Denver, but some of the many benefits in choosing this as your home. Now, if you haven't already gone ahead and done it, hit that subscribe button and be the first to know about all upcoming changes to the Charlotte area. And as I mentioned before, I'm 𝗖𝘁 𝗨𝘀, your Charlotte, North Carolina real estate expert. Every single day, I really do get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites from people who are just like you, looking to make the move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So if that's you, be sure to drop down into the description below. All of our contact information is there, whether you're making the move in 9 days or 90 days, moving across the world, across the country, or just across town. We're here to make your move everything you want it to be. So until next time, I look forward to showing you around town. So you're making the move. There's a lot of videos that you can be watching, like this one right here, or maybe even this one. Really either one of these, but honestly, watch both of them because they're going to help you make the move. Go ahead, pick one. They're both really good.